Alrighty folks, welcome back. We are taking a look at number 9 and 10 out of TMSCA number 925Q. Okay, so they want us to get the area of this quarter circle. We start with the area of a circle is pi r squared, and then we're going to divide that number by 4. We recognize that they give us a radius of 9.79. Square that, multiply by pi, divide by 4. Let's go ahead and take a look at this parallelogram. The neat thing about the parallelogram, or any quadrilateral for that matter, is that the area is going to be one of the lengths, which will, here it's easy to arrange it and see it as a base. So it's going to be a base times the distance that is perpendicular to that base, the height. It's always base times height. It's like base cross product with the height if you do vector math, but we won't get there. Anyways, the challenge here is they don't give us the height, and we're going to have to do a little bit of trigonometry to get that height. Now they do give us, or they want us to find this angle over here. Now, if we recognize, hey, maybe we can do a little bit of a right triangle. Once we have that angle for that right triangle, all we need to do is add the 90, and then we're done. The tricky part is this question does want the answer in radians, so we'll just kind of keep track of that. Okay, so they tell us that the area is 455, so 455 is going to equal the base, which is here is 29.5, times the height. So let's go ahead and draw our right triangle for that. In this case, because it's a parallelogram, they gave us the lengths, 17.4 for the height here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this angle right here, and I'm going to call that theta. And the height here is adjacent to it. So when we're solving for the adjacent, we can go ahead and say the adjacent, which I'm using the label H here for, the height of the triangle. And again, it's adjacent because it touches the angle. The height here is going to be the hypotenuse, which is 17.4 times cosine of the angle. And we don't know that angle, but that's okay. We're going to introduce it into this expression. We're going to solve for it. So that's 29.5 times 17.4 times cosine of the angle. And so here, what we're going to do is we're going to solve for the angle by dividing over the product of the two sides, 29.5 and 17.4. And then lastly, we're going to get that, to get the angle, we need to take the arc cosine of 455 all over 29.5 times 17.4. Okay. Lastly, the last thing we do is we're going to add the 90 degrees worth of an angle. Now, here's where we want to be a little judicious. In my opinion, recognizing that this question is asking for the answer in radians, I would set my calculator to radians. And then I would do the calculation. And then I would add 90 degrees worth of radians to it, and that's going to be pi over 2 rad. So you would add pi over 2. The other way to do this is do the calculation right here with arc cosine. Leave your calculator in degrees. That's fine. It's going to give you an angle in degrees. Then you add the 90 degrees. And lastly, you use the conversion in your calculator to convert it to radians. Does that make sense? Alrighty, that's number 9.